The English national team hasn't won a major international trophy since their World Cup triumph back in 1966, yet in the half-century that's elapsed since then, the general public has never missed an opportunity to pick the Three Lions as a potential tournament favorite, and the 2024 Euros has proven no different. As of March 2024, England and France are the current betting co-favorites to win the Euros at odds of plus 350. Host nation Germany is third favorite at plus 600, with neighbors Spain and Portugal tied for fifth. A curious allocation by bookmakers, considering the only country on this list to have never actually won the Euros is England. And while the Three Lions undoubtedly possess generational talent across the team and have world-class players in almost every position, the nation's history of failing to live up to the world's expectations is equally undeniable, which ultimately begs the question, should England actually be favorites to win the Euros? Now, the case for England is pretty straightforward. Not since their golden generation of the mid-2000s have we seen the country field a squad with so many world-class players in almost every position, and it starts with their defense, with Liverpool's Trent Alexander-Arnold arguably being the best attacking fullback of the last 5 years, and Man City's Kyle Walker possessing the most reliable recovery pace and defensive consistency throughout the Pep Guardiola dynasty. These two specialists allow Gareth Southgate the tactical variety rarely offered to other nations, a flexibility enhanced by first-choice center-back John Stones, a treble-winning defensive hybrid capable of defending his own box like a traditional center-half, or coming into midfield as a progressive ball carrier in a team that values possession. At left-back, Gareth will likely rely on veteran Luke Shaw, who's played a prominent part in England's recent tournament success, even scoring in the final of the last Euro tournament before ultimately losing to Italy. He's a player who seems to save his best football for when he's asked to serve his country, which can be said for goalkeeper Jordan Pickford as well. Regardless of whatever relegation battle Everton may or may not be going through, Pickford has always played exceptionally well when asked to protect England's back line, with the only worry being whether or not Southgate chooses to start Harry Maguire in front of him, an awkward yet somewhat imposing aerial threat at best, but one of Europe's most error-prone and mobile central defenders at worst. Now, I can make an entirely different video about why Fikayo Tomori, Joe Gomez, or even Gerard Branthwaite should start ahead of him, but at this point, Gareth Southgate would probably choose to sit in James Bond's torture chair than ever consider sitting Harry Maguire. But luckily for England, they have one of the best defensive midfielders in the world stationed right in front of him in the form of Declan Rice. The 25-year-old gunner has spent the last 8 months justifying every bit of his €100 million price tag, with his relentless ball recoveries in the defensive third, steadfast carrying ability through the heart of midfield, and last-minute game winners in the opposition box, bringing Arsenal that much closer to potentially lifting their first league title in 20 years. And speaking of €100 million price tags, Real Madrid's Jude Bellingham will likely be playing just ahead of him, as the box-to-box Brummie has taken his game to a whole new level this season, becoming the undisputed leader of the world's most prestigious club, en route to what will likely be his first league title at the age of 20. He can score goals as well as a striker, dribble past opposition like a technical midfielder, and win the ball back as if he were a traditional number 6. So on paper, a midfield partnership of Rice and Bellingham should be the best in the world, but if Southgate wants to play a midfield 3, he can always plug in Tottenham's James Maddison, or even unleash Trent into midfield like Jurgen Klopp's been doing since last April. And don't forget, Kobbie Mainoo is just sitting there waiting to announce himself to the world stage too. Either combination will look to feed an equally impressive attack, led by world-class striker Harry Kane, who's in the middle of introducing himself to German football by amassing 31 goals and 7 assists in just 26 appearances for Bayern Munich so far. At this rate, there's a good chance the English captain will break the Bundesliga record for most goals scored in a single season. Kane will be supported on the wings this summer by equally informed teammates, starting with Arsenal's Bukayo Saka. The 22-year-old talisman is in the running for Premier League Player of the Season, as he currently leads all of Mikel Arteta's squad in total domestic goal contributions, consistently improving his ability as not just one of the country's most dangerous playmakers, but as a lethal goal scorer in his own right. He's propelling Arsenal's attack into the final stages of a 3-way title race, directly competing with another one of England's world-class attacking options in Phil Foden. Like Bukayo, the 23-year-old has been in the public eye since the age of 18, and has steadily improved his game season after season, and in the wake of Kevin De Bruyne's injuries has become even more instrumental in Pep Guardiola's quest to complete the Premier League's first ever four-peat. Phil can operate in 3 of the 4 major attacking positions, whether it's left wing, right wing, or central attacking midfield, and will fight for his place in a competitive attacking unit that's also looking to welcome newcomer Jared Bowen. The winger turned center forward enters the England squad for the first time off the back of a sensational campaign for David Moyes' West Ham, scoring 14 goals goals in 28 appearances for the Hammers as of matchday 30. Now, in terms of traditional wingers with respect to pace and explosiveness, Southgate can also turn to Newcastle's Anthony Gordon, as well as reliable big-game player Marcus Rashford on the left, and might even want to consider calling up 21-year-old Cole Palmer to play on the right, given that he's single-handedly preventing Chelsea Football Club from collapsing into the bottom half of the table. Now, the depth of talent at Southgate's disposal becomes even more apparent when you realize we haven't even mentioned Aston Villa's Ollie Watkins, Man City's Jack Grealish, Newcastle's Kieran Trippier, and Crystal Palace's pair of Michael Olise and Eberechi Eze. But as much as England's world-class roster bolsters their argument as potential tournament favorites, the case against them is equally as strong. Co-favorites France, for starters, will be entering the tournament looking to avenge their World Cup final loss suffered at the hands of Messi's Argentina, a final in which Kylian Mbappe convinced a considerable part of the planet of his status as the world's best player. Youngsters Aurélien Tchouameni and Eduardo Camavinga are on pace to dominate world football for the next 10 years as Real Madrid's new and improved midfield core, while Antoine Griezmann refuses to show any sign of slowing down despite turning 33 years old in March. World-class defenders Theo Hernandez and William Saliba join an experienced back line that even boasts a world-class goalkeeper in Mike Maignan, and I'd say either one of Moussa Diaby or Kingsley Coman are just as, if not more, dangerous than any of England's wide options. Host nation Germany will also be looking for redemption as they hope to re-establish themselves as one of the world's best, and if their recent performance against France in the most recent international break is anything to go by, the exciting midfield tandem of 20-year-old Florian Wirtz and 21-year-old Jamal Musiala can cause problems for any national team, especially if they're guided by the legendary Toni Kroos. Joshua Kimmich, Ilkay Gundogan, and Antonio Rudiger are still incredibly formidable footballers as well, and give the Germans a great shot at reclaiming their status atop the European stage. Portugal, on the other hand, are in the business of forging their own national identity rather than reclaiming one, and have actually outgrown the necessity of icon Cristiano Ronaldo thanks to the depth and balance granted by the likes of Rafael Leao, Diogo Jota, Bernardo Silva, Bruno Fernandes, Ruben Diaz, and Joao Cancelo. Even a Spanish team in the middle of a generational rebuild shouldn't be taken lightly, given that a midfield three of Pedri, Rodri, and Zubamendi can pass the ball around anyone, and fullbacks Alex Romaldo and Pedro Porro are basically wingers masquerading as defenders. But one thing all these nations have in common over England is that they've done this before, with Spain and Germany having won the most Euro trophies, lifting 3 apiece, France just behind them with 2, and Portugal winning their first 8 years ago. Experience goes a long way in any sporting competition, and while losing a World Cup semi-final and Euros final could be a conduit to finally bringing it home, it could also be the first line of an argument suggesting that England shouldn't be considered favorites to win the Euros after all.